Y'all won't believe this. I literally recorded this video, and the entire time I recorded it, my mic was muted. Okay, so now in this video, we're going to talk about hazing. I can't believe that it is 2025 and people are still doing hazing. It's just so much stupid things that could go wrong, to include physical injury, death, the loss of your life because you're thrown in custody, the loss of wages and all of your assets because you get sued civilly. It's just a mess. And honestly, the crap needs to stop. But we're going to talk about a hazing incident that occurred that led to an unfortunate death of a young man who, from everything that I could see on social media, was very smart and had a very bright and successful future ahead of him. We got a few legal concepts to discuss. 4 legal concepts. Is going to get deep. We're going to watch this video. I'm going to have to take some intermittent pauses because y'all know how YouTube is. So all the people in the chat on the replay who going to say, man, you talk too much. It says reaction on the thumbnail. So if you want to watch the video, go watch the video on the news channel, and not here if you don't want to hear me give my attorney reaction. Let's dive in.
And was arrested in Louisiana, charged with the death of a fraternity pledge during a hazing ritual. Now, according to Baton Rouge police, Caleb McCrae was one of 3 men who, while wearing boxing gloves, punched pledges in the chest multiple times. Caleb Wilson, a member of Southern University's marching band, collapsed, had a seizure, and ultimately died.
Okay, first and foremost, me personally, as someone who went to an HBCU twice for undergrad and law school, I was never someone who was so enamored to join a fraternity. That's point number 1. Point number 2, 20-year-old Marcus, 20-year-old non-debt free dad, because I had debt and I wasn't a dad at the time. I wish a grown ass man would punch me in my chest. Furthermore, I wish I would stand there to let a grown ass man punch me in my chest. There's going to be some serious consequences and or repercussions. But I get it. These young people want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of an organization, have some type of familial ties. But for me, it was just never my thing. Now, punching somebody square in the chest, hey, yo, I used to box. I don't care if you got 10-ounce gloves, 14-ounce gloves. Punching somebody square in the chest, and I'm sure they were just open for it because they were pledges, can cause serious physical injuries. You all don't remember some years ago, a lot of people would just press down on your chest after you take a few deep breaths and people were passing out. All your respiratory shit right there, it could cause major problems. Let's jump back into the video.
More arrests are even coming. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager live tonight with an update on the investigation. Hi, Peyton.
Hi, Casey. And Caleb McCrae, we know he turned himself into Baton Rouge police last night along with his attorney. And today, Casey, we learned that he's from Wiley and graduated from Wiley ISD in 2019. And in Louisiana, hazing can be a felony.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. What happened here that was good for the defendant? Him turning himself in. Generally, when you turn yourself in, it gives the appearance of you cooperating with law enforcement. Now, we're going to get to all the bad shit, but for now, turning himself in is a good thing. It probably resulted in him getting a bond that he could afford. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had $100,000 bond and he had to pay $10,000 to get out. So turning himself in probably contributed to him getting a bond that he could make to actually get out of custody until trial. Let's dive back in.
And we also learned at the press conference today from Baton Rouge police, they've identified at least 2 additional suspects. They say they're working with them and they hope to have those arrests as early as this weekend.
23-year-old Caleb McCrae of Wiley is now charged with felony criminal hazing and manslaughter. Investigators say McCrae is the first arrest connected to the death of a 20-year-old Southern University student after an off-campus fraternity hazing ritual.
Detectives have interviewed over a dozen people and executed multiple search warrants to gather as much information as possible.
Okay, first of all, anytime you have something like this, I've never heard of a recruit getting hazed by himself. It's probably a bunch of people, a crap load of witnesses. Now, they did say that there are more arrests to come, because these type of things don't happen with just two people. Hey, me, big brother DFD is hazing little brother DFD. Like, nah, potential players DFD. Nah, it don't happen like that. It's normally a group of pledges who just willing to wake up and get people McDonald's at 2 a.m. in their drawers or whatever they do. Then there's a group of older people who've already been initiated into this fraternity who are just doing all the hazing. So you know what that means? There are a shitload of witnesses. Witnesses. That's what that means. The other thing that it means is that the persons who were there also facilitating this hazing, along with the individual who's been arrested, they can actually be charged with the exact same offenses of hazing and manslaughter. Why is that? Well, because we talked about this before: accessory before the fact, during the fact, and after the fact. If you're an accessory during the fact, you can be charged the same as the principal. That means you can be charged the same as the person who's actually committing the crime.
Friday, Baton Rouge police provided the arrest update at a press conference. In the early morning hours of February 26th, junior engineering student and marching band member Caleb Wilson was dropped off at the emergency room by a group of men who stated he collapsed while playing basketball.
Okay, real quick, we got to stop. That is absolutely terrible. They dropped them off and they told something that was false. There were a crap load of witnesses because they were the people who dropped them off, more than one person. They were the pledges who were there, I'm sure more than one person. Witnesses all over the place. Cops would easily find out that this story is false. They should have dropped them off and said, yo, we dropping them off, but they dropped them off, gave some bogus story. And the real reason why this is so bad is because it's deceitful. It's inconsistent with what someone would do if something was an actual accident, or if someone committed an accident and they had remorse. This is indicative of someone being deceitful and trying to hide the truth. So definitely going against the defendant.
The group left before officers arrived at the hospital.
Caleb Wilson died as a direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging to Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
Detectives learned the basketball story was a lie. Instead, according to an arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained on Friday, Wilson and 8 other pledges arrived.
8 other pledges. Like I said, people don't get hazed and it's just 2 people there, the hazer and the hazee. That's not how it works.
To a warehouse and changed into gray sweatpants. Police say they stood in a line and were each punched 4 times with boxing gloves by at least 3 individuals.
Okay, now we see that the other individuals involved were actually doing the punching. So, hey, makes perfect sense. They're accessories during the fact. Why? Because they were there participating in it, but they actually threw punches as well. So, because the argument is going to be made is it wasn't one punch that probably did this. It was the cumulative effect of multiple punches to his chest that caused him to have the seizure, which ultimately led to his death. This is so sad. That poor bright young. I got an affinity for young brothers trying to better themselves who light skinned with glasses. I don't know why, but it's a terrible situation. Condolences to his family. 2 lives, one gone, and one life gone, which is the worst part of the story. And all the other individuals who were there are about to be screwed, and they're probably going to end up in prison based on these facts, as they should. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you.
One of them being fraternity member and recent Southern University graduate, Caleb McCrae. The report states Wilson appeared to suffer a seizure and lose control of his bodily function. Police add Wilson's clothing was changed prior to his arrival at the hospital, where he later died.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. That's just a common sense question you're going to ask. Yo, why was his clothes changed from when they were hazing him? He had on this gray sweatsuit, and then they changed him back into his regular clothes, I'm assuming, before they dropped him off. Big strike against the defendant and future defendants in this case. Again, it's inconsistent with someone who did something that they believe was an accident. If I do something and it's an accident, I didn't want it to happen, and you start having issues, you can be dressed like fucking Big Bird. I don't care. I'm gonna pick you up, get you where you need to go, call 911. The fact that the clothes were changed, it it gives intent to deceive, but it also gives, why would you change the clothes? Is it an attempt to hide some type of physical evidence? That's what I see when I hear this, just going off the facts and going off the cuff.
A loss that has deeply hurt the Southern University campus, especially the school's famous marching band, the Human Jukebox. Wilson played the trumpet. This week, the university's band held a vigil honoring him, hoping to lift up Wilson's family with love and support.
McRae's attorney sent Fox 4 a statement this afternoon saying he maintains his.
Okay, let's listen to this statement by the attorney. Let's rewind it back. I'm sure he's gonna say the same thing that every attorney would probably say, but let's give the attorney the benefit of the doubt, and then I'm gonna talk
Or
about
a statement this afternoon saying he maintains his client's innocence and he's still reviewing all of the evidence. Meanwhile, Southern University also put out a statement today saying that it's pausing membership intake for all campus organizations while multiple investigations move forward.
Okay, so I think that this story is one of the saddest that I've seen on this channel, because a lot of young men have either lost their lives or completely ruined their lives. Now, we talked about some of the legal concepts. We talked about accessory before, during, and after the fact. We talked about the evidence, how the facts as we have them currently can tip in the favor of the defendant or in favor against the defendant. Now let's take a look at what they were charged with. We're going to go ahead and bring this up because I want y'all to just be in the loop, because that's what we do over here. We react, but we teach. We react, but we teach. So let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at the first statute, criminal hazing in Louisiana, statute 14.40 section 14, subsection 40.8. It says criminal hazing, except as provided in subsection D of this section, it shall be unlawful for any person to commit an act of hazing. Then it says any person who commits an act of hazing shall either be fined up to $1,000 or imprisoned for 6 months or both. That's just for committing an act of hazing. We're going to talk about what hazing is, but that's just for committing an act of hazing. Now, let's talk about what happens if it results in death. If the hazing results in seriously bodily injury or death of a victim, or the hazing involves forced or coerced alcoholic consumption that results in the victim having a blood alcohol concentration of 0.30% by weight based on grams, blah, blah, blah. So this resulted in death. If it results in death, serious bodily injury, forced alcohol consumption that reaches the blood alcohol concentration to over 0.30, a person is going to be looking at a fine of up to $10,000 and imprisonment with or without hard labor and up to 5 years in custody. So he's charged with criminal hazing and he's also charged with manslaughter. Let's take a look at manslaughter and see if the facts as we have them, we know this is early, but see if the facts fit with the charges. Here, I think everybody will agree. You engaged in a hazing act, it resulted in a death. Now you're looking at a $10,000 fine and up to 5 years imprisonment. They define hazing in this statute. For purposes of this section, hazing is any intentional, knowing, or reckless act by a person acting alone or acting with others that is directed against another when both of the following apply. 1, the person knew or should have known that the act endangered the physical health and safety of the other person or causes emotional distress. Yes, that element is met. And 2, the act was associated with pledging, being initiated into, affiliating with, participating in, holding office in, or maintaining membership in any organization. Both of those elements are met So this charge of hazing is a great charge, is a beautiful charge. And shout out to them for actually codifying this and putting this in statute. Because if this wasn't a statute, it could potentially be some wiggle room there for somebody to try to finesse their way out of these actions that just occurred. Okay, now let's take a look at the manslaughter offense. And I think it's the next one over. No, we don't want to go there. It might be back. Cyberbullying. You know what? Let's just close this out. I got it up in another window. So we're going to talk about it. I thought I could just turn right to it, but nah, that's not the case. All right. So now we're going to look at manslaughter. Okay. So this individual and the individuals who are going to be arrested and charged with this equally, because that's what I would do, was also charged with manslaughter and the hazing crime. So manslaughter. All right. Long story short, I'm going to start with subsection 2, then I'll read 1. But it says manslaughter is a homicide committed without any intent to cause death or great bodily harm. So they probably didn't intend to cause serious bodily harm or death, but it occurred. Then it says manslaughter is a homicide, which would be a murder under any other statute, but the offense was committed in passion or the heat of blood or caused by depraved person, blah, blah, blah. None of those apply. So they're charging this statute under the second prong, which is the one we read first. Manslaughter could be either all of those things that are in prong 1, which none of them apply, or it could be prong number 2, a homicide committed without any intent to cause death or great bodily harm. So they charged it under this second one, prong number 2. Let's see. Okay. Whoever commits manslaughter shall be imprisoned at hard labor for not more than 40 years. However, if the victim killed was under the age of 10, blah, 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 that doesn't apply. So whoever commits manslaughter shall be imprisoned at hard labor for not more than 40 years. However, if the victim killed was under the age of 10-year-old, the offender shall be imprisoned at hard labor without benefit of probation or suspended sentence for not less than 10 years and not more than 40 years. Woo! So, okay, this young man who, the decedent, rest in peace, the guys who committed this all potentially looking at, it says that's a big ass range. Not more than 40 years. Whoever commits manslaughter shall be in prison at hard labor for not more than 40 years. Hey, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Literally a bunch of lives ruined, one life lost, a bunch of lives ruined. Is a terrible story. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I mean, if you're in a fraternity or sorority, let me know in the comments. Those things are cool. Never been my flavor, but the hazing shit is kind of goofy. Like, there's other things you can do. There's other things you can do that doesn't involve physically beating somebody's ass or making them consume so much alcohol that they have alcohol poison. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this content, check out what's on the screen. There's going to be more content related to attorney reactions.